Please pray with me. Dear God, may the words in my heart and the words that come out of my mouth today and everything that we are all feeling as a congregation be acceptable in your ears today. Amen.
Amen.
You know, it's a funny thing, and people who know me, the worship team, the pastor, my wife, know that when I get ready to prepare for a sermon, I prepare way, way ahead of time. Now, I had this sermon topic picked out 6 weeks ago or so, and I sent everything that Elizabeth needed to her at least 4 weeks ago. Well, it's not going to go quite as planned. Because God has been sort of bugging me the last few days. I will say that the first part of my sermon kind of stays on track. And it talks about Luke. It talks about the healing the leper received. And the fact that out of 10, there was only one that came back and expressed gratitude for his healing. And that's about where it is. Because the last few days, something interesting has happened for me. I'm being forced to step out of my normal box and do things that I haven't had to do before. I have had to reach out to people and check on people and invite people into my house and more animals, which is always a good thing. I never turn down more animals. I'm normally a very quiet person. That's why I sit in the back where Ruth is at. But the last few days, my gratitude is immense. The gratitude I have for the people who have continued to check on me, the things I have been able to do to help other people. Just yesterday, we took a little drive. We're still without power, by the way, at my house. Thank God for generators. That's another part of the story. And we came to the church. We checked on the church. We made sure it was dry in here. We made sure it was standing. We went to Lydia's. We checked on her house. We went to Lisa's. We checked on her house. And then we went home and plugged in the generator again. Oh, yes, and we were at Betty's house. That's correct. So, the compassion that has been extended to us, my wife and I, plus the friendship I have with Kim that I nurtured over the last several days, which has been, we have been in an interesting group of 3 in our household, drinking margaritas and Bloody Marys. I'm telling the truth, at least. And celebrating Matthew. Because what Matthew has done for me is made me more grateful. I may not have power when I get home, but I claim that there is because I plugged everything back into the walls. I'm grateful because, number one, you all are sitting here today, and except for one person that comes to our church, everybody leaves here today knowing that they have a place to go home to. They didn't get flooded out. They didn't get hurt. You may have some cleanup to do. But we have so much to be grateful for. In August, I had a total reverse shoulder replaced. This whole shoulder was replaced. And I remember saying to Mary, the night before the shoulder was to be replaced, I said, you need to remind me tomorrow, after surgery, that the pain I'm going to be in is not like the pain I was in prior to having the shoulder replaced. And I asked her that next day after the nerve block wore off, I said, remind me, please, how grateful I am that I have a new shoulder. And she did, and it worked out well. And that whole shoulder thing is because of a motorcycle accident from the 80s. And all I can say is I don't have my bike anymore because it got so I couldn't even do this on handlebars because my shoulder hurt so much. I'm still doing PT, but that's okay. You know, gratefulness for me is a state of mind. I can't be negative. Now I could, you know, I don't know if any of you have seen my funny posts that I've put on Facebook in the last few days. My updates. But I have to have that humor. If I don't have the humor and the positiveness, then I don't have gratitude. So what happens when I have gratitude? I do nice things for other people. I'm not whiny. I share my margaritas. I open doors for people. You know, I care about what's happening to our earth. I care about the four-legged creatures. I care about the insects, the snakes, clean water, the air we breathe. When I'm positive and when I'm practicing gratitude. And I have to say that unfortunately as a kid I grew up in an abusive household. My mother was not physically abusive, but she was mentally and emotionally abusive. And I never grew up thinking I was worth crap. Clean that up. Yeah. So for me, having a positive attitude and being grateful does not come naturally. I've had to learn it over my adult life. But you know what? God tells me today that sometimes it's all that stuff that happened to me as a kid that makes me who Jackie is today. So, through the lack of my understanding, I have gained understanding. Through the lack of having compassion shown to me as a child, I have gained compassion. Through the lack of empathy that others have not shown me, I have gained an understanding of what it means to have empathy for others today. And through the forgetting to practice gratitude, I have learned the importance of being grateful. Now, all that sounds like a big mouthful, I know. But I have to believe that for myself today. You know, the psalm that Mary read, it's all about thanksgiving. Luke is about practicing gratitude. The psalm is about practicing gratitude. There's a lot of different ways we can practice gratitude today. By developing a sincere attitude of gratitude for the blessings that we get unconditionally, you know what happens? It unleashes a power in us to receive more blessings. So every day I give thanks. I try to find one thing to give thanks for. This morning it wasn't about FPL, but it was about the fact I had a home standing and I had a generator. For me, gratitude puts everything into perspective. You know, when I can see the good as well as the bad, I really have a hard time complaining about the bad. It helps me realize what I have. And then it takes away that desire we so often have for wanting more all the time. So here's what I like to do. When I find myself in a bad situation, like FPL right now, I ask myself, what can I learn from this situation? When I look back on it without being ticked off at FPL and without any emotion involved, what am I grateful for? Well, for me it's been, right now, looking back on it, and I can look back on the last 3 days, and I can say I'm grateful for the fellowship of friends, whether it's been texting to Sandy, or calling Julie and Hazel, making sure they're okay, or reaching out to the Debs or Dana, or whoever I've been reaching out to. It's reaching out to those people and fellowshipping and taking care of each other. Reaching out to Kathy and Karen, knowing that they were sort of in an evacuation zone, But they still took people in. I'm grateful for that friendship. And this is just a little sideline. Because when I'm practicing gratitude, I'm grateful for all things. Even when God speaks to me in the oddest of ways. And usually that for me is through my dreams. Now, for those of you who don't know, I had 2 Shih Tzus, Gabby and Molly. Gabby passed 2 years ago and Molly just passed in April. And I had a dream the other night. Well, it was before the hurricane, so that was the last time I really slept. And in the dream, they were both happy and playing and just a little bundles of joy again. And I woke up with a clear message, and the clear message was, I'm waiting on you on the other side of the bridge. And I'm grateful for that dream. I'm grateful for it because I know those dogs, that there's a heaven, and that God would not create a heaven if the dogs and our companions were not there too. So the other thing I dreamed about recently was my first dog that I got as an adult, was my Shar-Pei Sydney. And I hadn't dreamed about him in a long time. This is how I know that God is working in me today. A lot of things are happening in my life. I'm getting messages from all kinds of different directions. Sydney, who has been gone since 1999, or 99, he came to me in a dream. And he said, it's about time, and this is literally what he said to me in my dream. It's about time you opened up, because I've been trying to get through to you for a long time. And I thought, so the dreams, it's all about the dreams. I remember my father when he passed in 95, and I'm grateful for these dreams. It's all part of my gratitude. My father passed in 95. In 97, I woke up from a dream, and I turned to Mary and I said, oh my God, I just dreamed about my father. And she said, well, what was it about? And I said, I was driving down the road, I had my window down and my arm hanging out the window, and this white Cadillac, convertible, pulled up next to it. My father was driving it in a white suit, and he was a younger version of himself when he first married my mother, and he was 32-ish, and he was talking to me in my dream, and he was saying all kinds of things, and I kept saying, Daddy, Daddy, I can't understand what you're trying to say. And he kept talking to me. And then all of a sudden I woke up. And the minute I woke up, it was clear to me what my father was saying to me. He was saying, I'm okay. I love you, and I want you to know that I am in a good place. So I am grateful for my dreams. Maybe my sermon should have been gratitude for dreams. I don't know. One more dream I'm going to share with you. We have 2 cats in our house, Alfie and Gracie. Now, for those of you who haven't heard this story, or if you have heard it, I'm sorry I'm repeating it. One morning I woke up 7 years ago. I said to Mary, I said, I just had the most interesting dream about a little kitten calling me. She said, well, what was it saying? It was saying, all the cat was saying to me was, please come get me. Please come get me. And I said, and we kind of laughed about it, because Mary's 2 cats had both passed from renal failure. And we laughed, and maybe a few weeks later I dreamed about that same cat again. This went on and on for a few months. So a funny thing happened, and I finally said, I got tired of it, really. I said to Mary, I said, if I dream about that darn cat one more time, we're going to have to go look for it. A few weeks later, woke up. I said, okay, get dressed. It was Saturday morning. She said, get dressed? Saturday. I said, we're going cat looking. She said, oh my God, you dreamed about that cat again. And I said, yep, I did. And she says, well, okay. And so it was early. It was too early in the morning, and excuse me. It was too early in the morning, so all the places that normally have cats, you know, like the Pet Smarts and the Petco's and all those, the cat wasn't there. We went to St. John's Animal Control, the cat wasn't there. Mary finally said to me, look, I've had things to do, it's Saturday. I says, okay, I'll take you home. So I took her home, and then I went back. I kept looking. I went to St. Augustine, looked at all those places, ended up back in Jacksonville, looking at all those places. I didn't find it. And I knew I'd recognize a cat when I saw it. I went home. She said, you didn't find it, did you? And I said, nope, but I'm not done looking yet. I got on the internet and I went to petfinder.com, and lo and behold, there was this kitten staring at me in the face. And I thought, oh my gosh. So I called this woman. I knew exactly right away it was a cat. I called this woman and I said, I'm interested in this particular cat. She asked for the number and I gave it to her. And she said, oh yeah, she said, I don't have them with me. I live in Orange Park. And I said, okay, well, where are they? She said, well, they're in foster care. And she gave me an address. And I said, oh really? That's like right down the street from me practically. She said, well, the whole litter's over there. I said, well, can I go see them? And she said, yes. And Mary said, if you're going to go look at those cats, you can't get just one. So I went, and that's how we got Alfie and Gracie. Now, it's a nice story, I know. The interesting part of the story is I was dreaming about these kittens before they were even born. Because they were born, I was already into the dream cycle about 5 months when they were born. So I'm grateful for dreams. So all I got to say about dreams here, and gratitude. Never be afraid to dream, any kind of dream, whether it's in your sleep, or in your professional life, or in your personal life. Never be afraid to express gratitude to your friends, because you never know what's going to happen from day to day. You never know who's going to come and who's going to leave. Be grateful. Be grateful. And as I'm going to end this, I want to end with the words by Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. Please pray with me. Thank God, thank you, thank you, thank you for the dreams. Help me to continue to be grateful and to understand that I need to see and hear. Help me to express the gratitude that